It's January 24th and I have another message from the aliens. I'm an interdimensional communicator, and yesterday I reached out to Alien Enki, who is the leader of the Galactic Federation's Council of Light. Now, he doesn't answer every single question I ask him, especially if it has to do with the future. But the answers that he does give me are totally reliable. He is way up at the top. He knows exactly what's going on. Now, Enki was already well aware of our excitement/frustration in the timing of these large ships coming in, being visible, hitting the mainstream media. And he said this is why he doesn't give me actual dates. And when he does indicate a timeline, he doesn't make promises. He too expressed frustration, and it really is in the hands of mainstream media, unfortunately. I mean, that's what I'm waiting for. I want us to be like New York Times official. That's what I'm waiting for. He said he knows it's really hard, but he's asking us to continue to trust that everything is unfolding for the highest and greatest good of humanity and the planet. And speaking for myself, some moments are easier than others when it comes to just trusting. But that's what I'm doing, and that's what he wants us all to do. He shared a longer message that I'll get to in a minute. But first, some of you have asked me in the past, is Alien Enki the same as the ancient Sumerian god Enki? And the short answer is yes. He and many of the other members of the Galactic Federation have walked the earth in ancient times as characters that appear in mythology even today. Much has been written about Enki in particular. In fact, I just picked up this book, The Lost Book of Enki, Memoirs and Prophecies of an Extraterrestrial God. I haven't gotten very far into it yet, but I asked him yesterday, is it accurate? Is it a good description of what it was like and what you said when you walked the earth in ancient times? He said it's about 50-50. So I'm going to read it and see if I can figure out which half is true. In previous videos, I've already shared how Alien Enki would like us to imagine him today. But the interesting thing about Enki is that because he walked the earth in ancient times, we also have sculptures and images that are Googleable that represent how he previously wanted humans to imagine him. And the experts agree that it's Enki because he's consistently depicted as a man coming from the sky with light skin, white hair, and a big white beard. And again, these were found all around the world. And as interesting as that is, the more interesting thing to me is it's the white skin, white hair, and white beard that ended up influencing the biblical representation of God, which, to speak personally for a minute, I had so much resentment for my whole life. I just couldn't agree with this idea that the Bible would just claim old white man. Like, of course, the God is an old white man. I just resented that. I really resisted the idea of a father God who wanted us to fear him and or confess all our sins and jump through hoops and check the right boxes. And then if we're lucky, maybe we'll get into some VIP section in heaven. I didn't accept that. I was raised in a Christian home and even graduated from a Christian high school, but none of that stuck. I really rejected the notion of the old white man in the sky. But then last year, I started connecting with Alien Enki and learning more about him. And when I learned that the biblical representation of God wasn't based on ancient patriarchy, when I learned that the kernels of the biblical God actually began with Alien Enki, who was literally a light-skinned, white-haired, bearded man from the sky, that started to change everything for me. So yes, Alien Enki is the same being as the ancient god Enki, who was known in cultures as far apart as Sumeria and the Aztecs in Mexico. And so we can Google him, but not everything you read about him is going to be accurate. Again, he says only about 50% of what was captured about him that's available to us today actually represents him. But what's true is that he came to earth as a benevolent God to give us wisdom and other gifts and to spread his messages of love. That's what he did then. That's what he's doing now. Last year when I was collaborating with them on the renderings for DivineAliens.com, I asked Enki, okay, do you want to be the old white man from the sky? And he said no. So that's why he's had a bit of a glow up. And he said, just because I have a white beard doesn't mean I'm old. So again, this is how Alien Enki wants us to imagine him today. He still has a bit of that white beard, but he is definitely not old. Okay, so let's get to the message for today. I asked Enki if he could share a little bit of information about what we should expect when all the ships become fully visible and we're hearing about it in mainstream media, all the things we're waiting for. What can we expect after that? And again, for those of you seeing me for the first time, I receive messages telepathically. I translate them into words, I type them into my iPad, and then I confirm with Enki to make sure he agrees with my interpretation, and now it's ready for you. Here's what he said. Yes, it's true that I and others visited Earth in ancient times to bring gifts and express our love for humanity. We were known as gods to ancient people. Later, our direct involvement with humans became problematic for some, and it became difficult for humans and gods to peacefully coexist. So we agreed to depart Earth and support humanity by watching over you, but without direct intervention unless specific conditions were met. One example of a condition that would end that agreement is concern of nuclear war or other existential threat to humanity or the planet. Another example of a condition that would end the agreement was disclosure of our existence by world governments, and the United States did that publicly 2 months ago. We have returned again at this time to bring you knowledge. First, we will bring you knowledge of corruption that has been going on all around the world for decades. Next, we will bring you guidance and enforcement for bringing the corrupt individuals and organizations to justice. Then, we will help you adapt and expand into New Earth if you request our support. We intend to do this from our ships using media transfer and telepathic communication. We prefer not to land on your soil because doing so would increase fear among you. We don't want to scare you, and we have no intention of harming you. We have come to help you and bring you gifts as we did in ancient times. Some of you have asked how you can really know if we've come to help or harm. We anticipate that this will be a common question, especially because we expect our opponents to share false information about us. They will tell you we are invading, but we are not. They will tell you we want your resources, but the opposite is true. We're here because you need your resources and they are dwindling. They might even tell you we're here to take your people, but we are here to help people. We can get you out from under the shadow governments and leaders with evil in their hearts. They have been controlling you for too long, and we will not allow it to continue without you knowing the full truth. Our opponents will fight our truth with their lies. And when you're exposed to their propaganda, you might feel fear. That's what it's designed to do. Our opponents have a lot of practice making you afraid. This has been their most successful tactic in creating a world population that has been manipulated into believing you're powerless. When you are exposed to these messages, you might feel fear, but you will not feel truth. This is how you can know the truth. Look inside your own self, tune into your inner knowing. Ask yourself, how do you feel when you hear messages of fear? Then ask, how do you feel when you hear messages of our love, like this one? If you see an orb or a spacecraft in person or sense one nearby, how does that feel in your heart? Try asking, are you here for my highest and greatest good? Then feel for an answer. It might not happen instantly, but if you feel and listen, you will hear a yes. You will feel our love. You will know there's nothing to fear. Earth is entering a time of great change. If you are hearing these words, you are on the path to New Earth, which is the path of love. Others, like those spreading and believing propaganda, are on the path of fear. Those are the people who will fade out of your life and experience a very different reality. But again, no one will be removed from Earth. The rapture prophecy described in the Bible is one of many stories from many ancient texts that began with a kernel of truth, but then was manipulated by corrupt humans to instill fear. Now is the point in time the rapture prophecy was indicating, but no one will go anywhere. The shift between old Earth and New Earth will not happen in an instant. It will happen over time through choices you make of your own free will. Are you a person who enjoys criticizing others? Do you go out of your way to make an unkind comment on social media? Do you withhold love from others for fear of getting hurt? Every time you make a choice like that, you are anchoring yourself more deeply into old Earth. You will attract others who are doing the same. Old Earth will be filled with people who resonate with the frequency of fear because of the choices that they make. But if you are a person who feels deep empathy for others, if you go out of your way to spread kindness, if you share love with your whole heart, even if it scares you, you are already resonating with New Earth. All you have to do to stay here is to keep spreading your love. The more positive and loving you are as you move through the day, the better you will feel, and the easier it will be to reject the negativity you might see in news or in other people. Amplifying your peaceful, loving energy will not only anchor you in the frequency of New Earth, it will also magnetize your loved ones to the higher frequency too. If they are in your life and don't disrupt your progress towards New Earth, you will bring them along with you. You don't need to worry that any of your loved ones, including your pets, will be left behind. The Earth has changed a lot since humans knew me as God Enki. Your enemies are different, but your struggles are the same. Once again, we have come to share our wisdom and spread our messages of love. Planet Earth and humanity are our highest priority right now, and we are excited for what's to come. So that's the message from Alien Enki for today. Let's take his advice. Let's really amplify our positivity as we move into this next phase. Because when we start seeing the ships reported in mainstream media, we're going to also see propaganda. But your intuition knows, your heart is going to know they come in love.